Riverside.
All right, we're back. We're back. And I know it's been a few days. I know I was supposed to be back Monday. I was supposed to be back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But sometimes things just get in the way. It's called work schedule, doctor's appointments. And yes, I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. My cardiologist, got to check on the old ticker, make sure everything is fine, especially after having gone through surgery back on June 11th. Some of y'all probably knew about it. Some of y'all probably didn't know about it, but I'm doing fine. They also discovered, hey, you lost some weight too. I've been working on it because that's been powered by this drink right here. It's called Drink to Shrink. It's a detox tea. It comes in mango and also fruit punch. And of course, I've been watching my diet. So, those things play a part. So it feels good to be a little bit lighter. Uh, Once again, I do apologize for not being with you guys as I was supposed to be with you guys all week to give you the rundown. Also, I want to say, first of all, thanks to Keisha and Brent Maycock for all the information that I've been having access to. Uh, Brent, you pretty much gave me a thumbs up, a thank you. I want to thank you personally for letting me use that information to bring you these previews. I know the season has started, but I still want to give you some players to watch. However, this time I'm going to go a different route. I recently got my Vite magazine in the mail as well too, and I also want to say thank you to Vite magazine for sending these to me because let's just face it, wherever I'm supposed to get them at, they're never there when I go to get one. And I reached out to them and they made sure that I get my Vite magazine and it has some good information. Uh, Now on the Acacia website, you're gonna get everything here in this region and out in the Northeast. You're gonna know pretty much everything statewide. With this particular Vite magazine, everything is pretty much South Central Kansas. Nonetheless, we're still going to give you some players to watch as the headings say in 5A, and I'm going to try to also get to 4A. Uh, there are some teams you want to keep an eye out for. For one, let's start with Eisenhower. They made it to the 5A semifinals last season with one of the more impressive offenses in the state. While there will be some key holes to fill on the Tigers' offense, there are still plenty of talent coming back. Running back Braden Pipers, who was second team all league, rushed for over 1,200 yards and will be the focal point offensively. Also returning is wide receiver Hayden Nall, who hauled in 5 touchdowns. Eisenhower's strength defensively will be up front, where 4 starters return at the first 2 levels. Getting back to the Final Four will be difficult for the Tigers, but the talent is there to be one of the top teams in 5A again. After going 20-9 from 2021 to 2023, Salina Central took a step back last season, going just 4-5. But that appears to be a one-year aberration as the Mustangs bring back 8 all-league performers from last season. Leading that group is first-team all-league offensive lineman in Kansas Jayhawk commit Caden Snyder, who is a 4-star recruit according to Rivals. Snyder will be blocking for second-team all-league running back Cooper Reeves and second-team all-league wide receiver Bodie Rodriguez. Second-team all-league defensive back Abram Owens will be the leader of the defense. Salina Central has the roster to be one of the final teams playing in 5A. Whenever a team can bring back a Division I talent, that's a great place to start their roster. Maize South Hunter Higgins is the 5th ranked player in the state according to Rivals and has committed to Kansas. So there's another Kansas commit right there. He will be a load on the defensive line. The Mavericks' offensive duo of quarterback Tate McNew and wide receiver Landon Gatto connected 99 times for 1,332 yards and 16 touchdowns last season. Those two will be difficult to replace. But the Mavericks bring back second team All League tight end Alex Singletary, part of that famous Singletary family. Yep. Talking about Ashley, who's doing her thing at Butler County, Aaliyah, and Alex was honorable mention. So they have good sports gene. So I would definitely get out and check them out as well too. And honorable mention, all league wide receiver Braxton Libby. Finding the right person to throw it to them will be critical. Over the past 3 seasons, Hutchinson has gone 23-9 with 5 playoff victories, with 12 starters returning in 2025. The Salthawks figured to have the roster to win multiple playoff games again. Hutchinson's top 2 players will be second team All League offensive lineman Taylor Ryman and second team All League linebacker Jackson Alexander. But also figuring into the mix are All League honorable mention selections Bailey Bishop, offensive line, and Javon Embers, defensive line, Brody McEwen, defensive back, and Tremel Walker, defensive back. Goddard has gone 17-8 with a league championship over the past 3 seasons, but hasn't been able to get that elusive playoff win. With 14 starters returned in 2025, this might be the team that breaks through for the Lions. The defensive side of the ball returns the most high-end talent on the roster. Second team All-League defensive lineman Trey Wright, and honorable mention All-League selections Jordan Zeltner, end, and George Coings, linebacker, Elliott Walk, linebacker, and DeIrvin Phillips, defensive back, lead what could be a formidable unit. Goddard has the roster to play deep into November, so look out for both of those teams in Goddard. It was a solid first season at Andover for Jamie Cruz's tenure after going 0-9 in 2023. The Trojans bounced back with a 4-5 record. The challenge will now be keeping the momentum going with just 8 starters returning. Andover's 2 most notable returning players are offensive lineman Ben Reynolds and linebacker Aaron Kimball. Both were honorable mention All-League selections. The Trojans will need inexperienced players to step up in order to not take a step back. The 2025 season will be a new era of Bishop Carroll football with Chris Jacks, as Chris Jacks takes over for longtime coordinator and then head coach Dusty Trail. Jacks inherits a team that will not be short on talent. First team All-League defensive back Blake Bowmaker returns, as does second team All-League selections Nick Wineland, wide receiver, and Aiden Acosta, defensive back. There are plenty more honorable mention All-League selections back for the Golden Eagles. 2, expect a much improved season for Carroll after going 2-7 last year. And of course, we know they got off to a rocky start, but some people said they made an impression in their loss to Northwest last week. And we're going to get more into Northwest later on. As you see, my heading said 5A and 4A players to watch out for, as well as the big game coming up this Friday. And we'll get into that a little bit later on. But what I want to do is take a look at some players to keep an eye out for. Even names that you might not expect, keep an eye out for them. Starting off with Newton's Jonathan Hill. The Newton football team struggled to a 2-win season in 2024, so Jonathan Hill and his fellow Railers made it a priority to become better teammates to each other. I'm hoping to have a stronger bond with the team as we have had group hangouts and went on camping trips to strengthen our relationship, Hill said. I am also looking forward to bonding with my team and coaches with hopes of having a better season than last year. Hill, who plays wide receiver for Newton, worked on specific areas that are necessary for him to improve on his second team All League honors from last season. In 2024, he had 22 receptions for 240 yards and two touchdowns. I have been active with speed and agility training, along with lifting and 7-on-7 against teams in the area, Hill said. With his work in the offseason, not just individual, but as a team as well, Hill has goals he wants to achieve this season. A personal goal I have is to achieve first team honors, and for the team to win a playoff game, Hill said. So we will wish Hill the best of luck in his endeavor, as well as those Newton regulars. How about Hutchinson's Taylor Ryman? Hutchinson Jr., offensive lineman Taylor Ryman, put in plenty of work during the 2024 offseason and was rewarded with a second team All League selection. That was motivation for Ryman to ramp up his effort even more during this past offseason. Some goals that I have for me is to just keep getting better and make sure it shows on the field, Raymond said. The Salthawks have had plenty of success recently, winning 23 games over the past 3 seasons. Ryman is excited to see what the 2025 campaign has in store for his team. What I'm most excited about for this upcoming season is just seeing my teammates all come together and seeing them ready to play ball as hard and fast as we can, Ryman said. I'm also super excited to see all the hard work we have been putting in, actually, on the game field. While Ryman earned all league honors, he admitted there was a part of his game that needed improvement. One thing that I've been striving to get better at is pass protection, Ryman said. That's when I put our school's field to use and I work on it. Me and a couple of the other linemen go to our school's Don Michael Field to do O-line drills and agility training. I have gone to a couple of camps this summer, including Sharp's top prospect camp. Moving back in a little bit closer to home here, Mays South Hunter Higgins. Over the past 2 seasons, there has not been a more dominant player in the state than Mays South defensive lineman Hunter Higgins. The KU commit racked up 62 tackles with 13 sacks. Wow. If I'm a quarterback, I'm trembling. We look across the line and you see Hunter Higgins staring you down. So the KU commit racked up 62 tackles with 13 sacks in 2024, while also adding 26 quarterback hurries and 2 forced fumbles. With his future now set, Higgins can now focus on the games. So much goes into off-season that makes the season seem like a really short time of the year and the work that's required, Higgins said. I just can't wait to be out there playing. Higgins suffered a back injury in 2024, which prevented him from playing baseball in the spring. That might end up making a huge difference for the 2025 campaign. I feel a lot more like myself, Higgins said. Working a lot on the explosiveness and speed is big for my position. From a physical standpoint, Higgins has been overpowering. Now he wants to add a new layer to skill set. I want to show a different level of speed this year, Higgins said. A lot of that will be fixed by being healthy, but also doing a lot of that work myself to show that change. With so many players graduated off the Mavericks 2024 team, Higgins now views himself as a leader. My biggest goal is to be a true captain and have the trust of the team, Higgins said. I feel that I will be responsible for a lot of what happens, almost like an assistant coach role. I just want the team to show effort every game. So many times, little mistakes can be fixed with that. So I want us to do the little things right. The words from Hunter Higgins. And yes, like I said, we are looking at teams to watch and previewing players in 5A. Here's another 5A player, Goddard's Braxton Kohler. Goddard senior lineman Braxton Kohler has been a part of three successful seasons that saw the Lions go a combined 17-10 and a league title in 2023. But Kohler has not felt what it's like to win a playoff game, and that's atop his wish list for the 2025 season. My last 3 years in high school ball, we have performed well, but always came short of the mark, playoff wise, Kohler said. So I would say that I'm most excited to play as hard as I can and prove that we can make it past the first round. One key area that might alter the ending of Goddard's season is how Kohler and his teammates deal with the adversity throughout a game and ultimately the season. I'm really hoping we improve our morale this season because I believe when a team faces adversity, they should be brave and still give their all, no matter the score or situation, Kohler said. I would like to thank our new offensive line coach, Coach Etcher, for helping with that because he has told us from day one, no matter how bad you mess up, at least do it at 100%. That makes a lot of sense. Kohler was a first team all league selection last season, but he wants to earn new accolades this season. I would love to push for 50 plus pancake blocks this season because last year I only got a little over 40, Kohler said. I'm also trying to advance my previous accomplishments of first team all league by getting all state this year. And I can tell you, he looks like a pretty big boy. And I for darn sure will want to get pancaked by him. Moving right along, looking at some more. Hutchinson's Jackson Alexander. Hutchinson All-League linebacker Jackson Alexander has always been smaller than most of his position. But he knows that means he has to take his workouts to another level in order for him to be successful. Staying consistent in the gym and working my absolute hardest, no matter how much I didn't want to, has been the key for bettering myself and getting ready for this year, Alexander said. I've spent a lot of time in the gym just trying to get bigger overall and going to the field, working on speed and my footwork. Alexander, who racked up 94 tackles and 5 sacks last season, is the lone returning linebacker for the Salthawks. But that doesn't worry him. What I am most excited about for this year, for this season, is getting to play with a new and young group of linebackers, Alexander said. I'm excited to teach them the ropes like the seniors ahead of me did. Despite being a starting linebacker on a highly successful program, Alexander feels like he and Hutchinson fly under the radar. Some individual goals for me are making a name for myself on the field and getting the recognition I feel like I deserve. Sound like he has a chip on his shoulder right there. Some goals for the team are to finally get past that third round of playoffs and have a good time while getting better every single day. So now what I'm going to do, I am going to flip things up here. And I'm going to fast forward, shall I say, And we're going to take a look at 4A because there are some teams in 4A. I mean, I could stretch this out on the 5A side, but time won't allow me to do that because there is so much more I want to get to. So I want to go ahead and fast forward and take a look at 4A because there are some players in 4A to look at, and we're going to just jump right in. And when I say jump right in, we're going to go ahead and transition on into 4A right now. Cape Mountain Carmels, Cole Tarantino. I hope I pronounced that right. I believe I did. Cole Tarantino. There we go. One of Cape Mountain Carmel's biggest strengths on defense was Cole Tarantino. Back for another season, Tarantino is ready to make another playoff run as well as get a few wins against some fierce competitors. Bishop Carroll has to be our biggest rival. It's the Holy War, Tarantino said. They had a long streak on us, and I'm excited to extend our winning streak one more year. Sound like shots fired right there. I'm also looking forward to the first game of the season against Andover, which they won that game last week, went into Andover, and were some very unruly guests by stealing a victory. A couple of my buddies have been talking smack, so I'm excited to go over there and win, and that they did. Conditioning and training with the team was important over the offseason, but Tarantino spent hours bettering himself and his mind too. Along with training with the team this summer, I've been putting in work on my own, Tarantino said. I'd say my biggest weaknesses has been my size, so a lot of my effort has gone into eating right and gaining weight to be more competitive on the field. Taking it week by week is on the agenda for Tarantino, but a big victory towards the end of the season sits at the back of his mind as well. I'm not focused on any personal goals besides the fact of doing my part for the team to the best of my abilities, Tarantino said. We are looking for a state championship this year, and I believe this is the team to do it. My goal is to be a cog in the machine and do my best for my teammates. And one thing I will say, you can never count out a coach Western Sharks team. Even if you know what they're going to do, they still do what they do successfully. So Capon is going to be one of those teams you want to keep an eye on. Another young man to take a look at, Circles. Yeah, that's right. 4A, Circle High School. Franklin Ecu. And I hope I pronounced that name right. I'm pretty sure some of y'all remember that name. He played in the City League. However, he's transferred. He's at Circle. From a 6A school to a 4A school. But I'm pretty sure the work ethic is still the same. So for the longest time in Circle High School senior leader Franklin Ecu's life, he was a dedicated soccer player. That all changed in seventh grade when he gave football a chance. The last few years, Ecu has been at Wichita Northwest and has been playing all over the field, literally, whether that is his most consistent spot of kicker, wide receiver, running back, or linebacker. Ecu has been interchangeable and will plan to do a lot of the same again this year for the T-Birds. The fact that I don't have any offers yet, I feel like gives me an edge over a lot of these bigger names because, again, that gives me that extra hunger, as you said. Another thing that stands out for me is my versatility. I'm an athlete because I can play wherever my coach needs me. Despite changing schools, the goals haven't changed for the senior. My personal goals are to connect with a college staff that embraces me the same way my teammates and coaches at Circle have, EQ said. The football community at Circle is amazing, and it's been amazing to be a part of because it's shown me what I want for college. Our team goal is to win one game at a time. A lot of people will doubt us because of the past, but this is a great program with a senior class full of leadership that has worked harder than anybody I know this summer. As the clock on EQ's football career nears closer and closer, EQ, who doesn't have any offers yet, knows that his time is coming. I plan on playing at the next level, EQ said. I keep my faith in God. I like that. And I know everybody's path is different. With that type of attitude, EQ and the T Birds should be a good story all year long, and the type of team that Circle fans have been waiting to see. Football is my way of therapy, EQ said. I get to express myself and just let everything out. So I think fans should know that we got a big season coming at Circle. Moving right along, let's go down the road to Wellington. Colton Bannister. After graduating a large number of seniors, Wellington had a lot of holes to fill this season. However, Colton Bannister, a first team All League linebacker, returns and is sure to be a big part of Wellington's success. I'm excited to take on my team in our schedule, Bannister said. With big shoes to fill, Bannister knows his offseason work is going to come in handy during the long fall season. I'm getting faster and more explosive during this offseason, Bannister said. I am wanting to make it far in the playoffs, and I want to shoot for 130 tackles this season. Although the season is quickly approaching and has already started, Bannister is looking forward to breathing in all of the last he is going to have with his teammates. I'm most excited to play one more season with the people I grew up playing with since first grade, Bannister said. A new face was playing in 4A last season, but it was no match for a tough Wellington team. A huge win was an all-time favorite memory for Bannister. My favorite memory is beating Capon last season, Bannister said. That was my favorite game of my life. And stand down south, about 8-10 miles down the road, Mulvane's Manny Myers. Mulvane's Manny Myers was a first team All League quarterback last season, and while the season didn't end how he was hoping, Myers is ready to give his everything for his senior year. My main goal this year is for our team to make a deeper run in the playoffs, Myers said. We were disappointed with the way the season ended and expect more this year. With big hopes for the season, Myers and the rest of the Wildcats have spent the offseason training and driving themselves to be the best they can be under the lights. I've been preparing for this season by spending time in the weight room, running, and going to the field with teammates to throw routes and build chemistry, Myers said. One more season ago, Myers looked back on some of his best and favorite memories as a Wildcat, and one exciting and unforgettable moment always comes to mind for him. My most memorable moment of last season was coming back and scoring the game-winning touchdown against Augusta in the first round of the playoffs, Myers said. After giving his all for Mulvane every Friday for the past few years, Myers is ready to breathe it all in one last time. I'm most excited to share the field with my brothers and teammates one last time, Myers said. I'm also looking forward to representing the town I grew up in one last football season. So these are some feel good stories, especially when you start talking about the seniors and You just wonder the emotions that go through their mind, especially when they step on that turf for what would be called senior night. You just hope they can harness it and still play the game that they love. Next up, Andover Central. And we know they got off to a rocky start last week. That's right, Andover Central, the defending 4A champions. After being part of the 4A state championship team last season for Andover Central, Max McDaniel knew the team had a lot to do during the offseason to make another comeback. The part of the season we were preparing for is just the guys coming in and all the spots were filled, and the senior class that was here last year and just filling in those positions, McDaniel said. Although a repeat is in the back of everyone's mind, McDaniel's biggest goals are to enjoy the moment and put it all out on the field. I think the goal this year for me was to take advantage of every opportunity to get better with my teammates, McDaniel said. Also, just to get better every day with the team and just work. I'm really excited for all the games and just playing with everyone around me. Also, just taking in all the moments and just enjoying the sport. With such an exciting season ending last year, McDaniel is taking in the feeling and applying it to another up and coming 2025 season. Most memorable for me was definitely winning the state title over Bishop Miege, McDaniel said. It was really fun to have accomplished that as a team and was fun to celebrate all of them. And keeping with Andover Central, Jalen Wilson. Jalen Wilson of Andover Central knew after a championship win that the work was nowhere near finished. The all league athlete and the rest of the Jaguars spent the offseason working to find the perfect placements for another winning team. Me and my team are preparing to sharpen our offense and defense up. Wilson said, "We have a lot of sport spots to fill up from last year's state team. I really want to improve my run game stopping. I let a lot of runs up the middle, so I plan to correct that. While focusing on the stats is important, Wilson is also working to be the best leader he can be for the team. I am focused on getting more sacks than I did last year, but mostly my goal is to make sure our team is on the same page, making sure we have the mental part down and ready to go Friday night," Wilson said. Wilson is also looking to have another competitive season and is excited to meet some familiar faces on the field again. "I'm ready for Andover this year," Wilson said. Also, Goddard Eisenhower as well. Both are very good football programs to be able to compete with, and this year is going to be fun. After high school, Wilson hopes to continue playing the sport he loves at the next level. "My future plans are to play in the NFL or any league that will give me a chance," Wilson said. "If football does not work out, I will pursue engineering." And you see why come I call them student athletes, because it just seems like this young man has a plan if football doesn't work out. And last on the list, even though it's not the last in this publication, but like I said, because of time constraints and there are some other things I want to get to, Cape and Mount Carmel's Nick Anshew. Cape and Mount Carmel's Nick Anshew ended last year's season as an all-league and all-state player, but he knew he wanted to strive for bigger and better things for his senior year. "I've been preparing for this season since the end of our playoff run last year," Anshew said. "I immediately started putting in a ton of work on the field and in the weight room. I put on about 45 pounds of mass since last season, and I just had to be super intentional with how I worked, and I just devoted myself to improvement." While he saw a lot of attention last year, Anshu is excited to see what and where his skill and talent will get him this season. My goal for the team this year is to be the Wichita C League champions and also the 4A state champions, Anshu said. I personally want to achieve making first team lists for everything C League, Metro, State, and top 11. I personally just want to continue to hone my craft and improve myself for my transition to college football. Last season held a lot of firsts for Anshu, and getting to experience those will forever stay with him. The most memorable moment of my athletic career has to be my first varsity start last season, Anshu said. I was nervous, but knew I was ready. It really set my love of the sport in my heart, and I know it was what I wanted to do for my future, without a doubt. That also goes hand in hand with being a part of the team that both broke the loss streak against Bishop Carroll while also making it to the 5A state championship. Anshu has big plans after graduation and will continue playing on the field for the future ahead. I'm committed to play football at Tulsa University. Who knows? I just may go up the road just to watch him put on that golden hurricane uniform next year. Anshu said, I am beyond excited to continue my growth and development in the sport as I strive for success, as well as getting an amazing education as I get my degree in business. Without a doubt, I'm looking forward to that. Once again, student athlete. We need to applaud these young men, not just on the field, but also applaud them in the classroom. Now, big game coming up Friday night. Wichita Northwest, Wichita East. We know that over the past couple of years, especially the year before, things got chippy. Or maybe I shouldn't use that word when describing high school games. Things got intense. One of the images that will be forever etched in our memory will be that of the pregame handshake or the lack thereof. Notice I said pregame handshake. I didn't say lack of sportsmanship. I said the lack of pregame handshake. As the Northwest players reached out to shake hands, which is customary after the coin toss, the East High players just stood there. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not criticizing nobody. If I were going to criticize somebody, I would criticize the game officials because that's something the officials should have handled. Quote me on that. As the game unfolded, East High came away with the victory. And it was an offensive showing. And to prove that it wasn't a fluke, when they beat them one time, they met again in the playoffs. I can't think of the last time Northwest got beat by the same team twice. Maybe Manhattan did it. But no team in the city I can think of has beaten Northwest twice in the same year, say, except now for Wichita East High Blue Aces. So there are some layers to this rivalry because that's what I'm going to deem it. a rivalry. What has intensified this rivalry is, let's start with Deuce Bohannon, who was once a Northwest Grizzly, transferred to Wichita East. And yes, there were a couple of other players, or at least one other player that's also on that East High roster, who's a former Northwest Grizzly. So, and I don't know how much they do this, but I'm pretty sure these players are still connected. I'm pretty sure there's some smack talk going back and forth. To what extent, I don't know. But once the lights come on and toe hits the leather, it's going to be intense. The first thing we want to say is, whoever the head of officiating is, make sure your officiating crew gets a handle on the game, but don't make the game about you. I believe the year before there were some ejections. Coaches might have got tossed. It was kind of chippy. Last year's game, you were probably expecting maybe a shootout of some sorts. Northwest won that game 14-0. Not the offensive explosion that you would come to expect. The defense showed up. Northwest defense outperformed, coming away with a 14-0 victory, which now leads to this year's rivalry game. And yes, I know Northwest opened up the season against Bishop Carroll last week and had some struggles in the first half that Steve Martin wasn't too happy about. But in my opinion, I would say that I believe Northwest did show all of his hand, knowing that the big game was looming. Now, I can't confirm that, but that's what I believe. Likewise with East, they went on the road and beat Wichita Heights. Looking at the score, I don't think it was the most dominating of all games, but I'm pretty sure this week, on both sides of the ball, both sides, the practices have been ramped up, the intensity has been ramped up, and both teams have this game on their calendar marked. So what I want to do now is I want to take a look at some players that you might want to watch in this game. For instance, Northwest Augie Fast. Just to look at some key stats on him. And yes, he did live up to his last name as he accumulated over 1,800 plus all-purpose yards with 14 touchdowns, as well as being named All-League first-team running back and an All-State first-team selection as a junior. That's just one piece of the puzzle right there. There are some other pieces, though, to this puzzle that makes this Northwest offense click. And I am getting that right now as we speak, because the other piece, as we speak, Jalen Mason. Mason has been an all-state State the last 2 years and has already amassed over 3,200 passing yards to go along with 1,000 rushing yards and 50 touchdowns. Now, anyone who knows Coach Steve Martin, he likes to pound the rock. In other words, run left, run right, run up the middle. Run left, run right, run up the middle. Pound and ground. Wear you out. Physically dominate you. But now you have a passing attack too. That makes, if you're a defensive coordinator, you are having nightmares watching game film trying to figure out what direction are they coming from. When I seen that, I was like, wait a minute, is this the same Steve Martin we've been talking about for the past few years, who has put out running backs after running backs after running backs? As a matter of fact, I had one of his former running backs on my program who's playing at South Dakota this year, who I just seen on TV a few weeks ago playing against Iowa State. Northwest is putting out so many running backs, I started calling them running back high school. And the room got so crowded that Ace Bohannon found himself a home at Wichita East. Which is what makes this rival even more intense. How about Ace? When you see his stat line, it makes you wonder how he didn't make first tee. But let's see what Northwest is going to be going up against on the opposite side of the ball as their high octane offense goes against East High's defense. Because Wichita East senior DJ Ngasa is a jack of all trades. It doesn't matter if it is on the field or off the field. He is going to stand out. Let's take a look at some of the things that he posted last year. The senior is coming off a year where he had 67 tackles, 22 tackles for losses, 10 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery, which has helped him be named to the all-league team the last 2 years. How about off the field? What's even more impressive? He maintains a 4.1 GPA while being involved in the 1B program, taking AP classes, being the first chair tuba in varsity band, being involved in DECA, and also serving as the student body president. But back to the football field. 67 tackles, 22 tackles for losses, which means he is a disruptor. Offensive linemen are going to have their hands full with him. He has a knack for getting to the quarterback. But even with that being said, he too is just one piece of the puzzle of this East High defense. Because there's another guy named Farrell Adams, which I featured him on my last show, who is also getting some Division I offers. And he's a load to handle on that defensive line. So you have these two pieces on that defensive line there wreaking havoc throughout the City League, which is why I say I believe that this game right here could decide the outcome of the Greater Wichita Athletic League, also known as the City League, as we also aptly call it. And yes, I'm looking forward to this game. I'm also hoping to get Coach Steve Martin and Coach Akpan on my show soon. Win or lose, I would like to have both of them on my show that Saturday after, which I know it wouldn't be possible because of the short notice, but it's not going to stop me from reaching out. But what I want to say to those of you who are going to these games, get out and support these young men. They deserve your support. And while you are cheering them on the football field, I want you to also applaud them for their academic success. You just heard DJ Ngasa, 4.1 GPA. Those are the things that we should be applauding. Because as I often ask my young student athletes that come on my show, I ask them first, what is their grade point average? Knowing that if they post it on X, I already know it, but I want them to tell it. And then I ask them the next question. Why is education so important? And they all seem to come up with the right answer. Because they know at some time you won't be able to play forever. And so often, so many athletes fail to realize that when the ball stops bouncing, when the passes are not being thrown, when the ball is not being knocked out the park, what do you have to fall on? For some, sadly to say, it's nothing. So when you know these young men are doing it in the classroom as well, applaud them and keep them encouraged, because these are our future leaders. Well, this has been another edition of the A Train Sports Talk live streaming and podcast. This show will be podcast later on. Also want you to know that we're streaming from the Riverside FM platform, also streaming live on YouTube right now, and also on twitch.tv. This show will be podcast, and you'll be able to check it out on Spotify, iHeart, the Odyssey app, also on the free Spreaker app. I also want to let you know that today's show is
powered by Riverside FM.
That's right. We are powered by Riverside FM. So I want to thank you, those of you who may be watching the show right now. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I applaud you all. Really, I do applaud you all. And before I get off and bring the train into the station, there is one person I definitely want to say thank you to. She seems to enjoy my post, and I don't know, she may even listen to the show as well too. Uh, Her son played last year on the basketball team, and I think he graduated. You may remember the name River Peters. Becky, I want to say thank you for your support, your encouragement. She always tends to leave a like button, either be on my sports podcast or my Bible podcast that I post as well too. Things like that is what keeps me encouraged. Those of you who say, "Hey, I enjoy listening to your show," that's what fuels me to keep doing what I'm doing. Also, my guests that come on, I appreciate y'all. To the parents that allow your student athletes to come on my show, I appreciate y'all as well too. This here is also for you. Thank you. I really appreciate y'all for letting y'all's students come on my show. It means the world to me. So until the next time, take care of yourself and each other. And I'll be back again, hopefully, with a Saturday scoreboard show. So until then, take care of yourself and each other. Be blessed and be a blessing.